Hello, and welcome to Session 4 of Destiny of the Force. We are luckily all here today this time to continue on the adventures of these Jedi trainees. After an excursion to Tatooine in order to pick up lost Jedi supplies that was stolen by pirates, our group of trainees is on their way back to Ossus, the capital. Well, capital isn't the right word. The home planet of the Jedi. At this point in time, there were 2 shipments worth of Jedi supplies that had been stolen by pirates, and the group managed to recollect one of them, but the other was stolen by the mercenary Nijikata, her friend, that everyone refers to as the Drone Master, and was in service of a man named Saren. So, beaten and battered, but having picked up some new friends in the form of Ray Dameron and R8B8, the crew is just now about to come out of hyperspace over Ossus, and in the meantime, Sidani has the option to call people in to speak to him.
Except for me. She has to come to me because I have a missing leg.
You've learned your lesson. I'll give anyone the chance to explain who wants it. Otherwise, Sidani is just going to type up her 45-page report, times New Galactic font, make sure all the margins are correct. So if you have an excuse, make it known.
I wouldn't say we have an excuse. It's just more of who wants to take the bullet. Talk to Sidani first.
Well, I feel like Sol would probably go to the cat.
I think you might cut out there at the end, Matthew. Matthew? Oh, he might cut out in general.
That's one down.
Well, if no one wants to speak with her, then we can go down to the planet.
They all just get harsh stares throughout the journey. So
I mean, really, what's she going to be mad about? Vanada's safe, and we were partially successful in the mission. So it's all good.
all good. Have you seen how many of the crews are in the medical bay?
This is to be expected.
Is it?
Should be thankful they're in the medical bay and not a grave.
That is exactly what I'm trying to prevent. I would expect someone of your background to understand this.
I understand that in order for people like Sol and Talia and Castum to grow into the Jedi that they're meant to be, they have to take risks, and they have to put themselves in harm's way.
They
It's
need
risky, but it's necessary.
how to go about things. What was the
I don't
plan,
know.
exactly, if there was one?
Planning's never really been my forte.
you are, how to put this? You think that putting them at risk will help them, even though you know that planning is not your forte. What do you think is going to happen when you put them at risk?
Miss Joe, I didn't decide to put any of them at risk. They made that decision for themselves. I'm just there to accompany them and try and keep them as safe as best I can.
Whoop whoop. That's all you hear from R2 over in the corner.
I see. You see her start making notes of something.
As far as what you two would recognize as R2's noises, that was generally a noise in agreement with Merrick, probably. That's what you can guess.
Are you really taking notes?
Yes.
We didn't do that badly.
It could have gone better.
She specifically writes in the book, "They're all idiots," and then triple highlights it.
I don't disagree with you that it could have gone better, but it's like
Just
I
highlights
said.
Merrick doesn't plan.
Well,
And this
we all knew that one.
This is how you will learn, by knowing what your weaknesses are and being able to correct them.
And I also told all of you a long time ago that the second we decided to leave Riltanar without Ben Skywalker and everyone else, and to break our orders, we would accept the consequences of whatever happened. We have. Castum's missing a leg. A lot of us are in the medical bay. We made mistakes. I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Which is precisely why this is necessary, to make sure it doesn't happen again.
There's nothing saying that it won't happen again, but we can learn from this. That's the important part.
Miss Joe, who made you judge and jury of our actions?
You did, when I became the most responsible one on the ship.
Last time I checked, everyone on this ship is an adult and responsible for their own decisions.
Yes, and we see how that has turned out.
Banada pokes her head out of the cockpit. I think we're about to drop.
Excellent. Then you all are dismissed. She takes a couple minutes, probably putting everything back into its place, and we'll head to the cockpit.
Merrick
It's
will
just
give
gonna
a
give
wry
Merrick a
salute.
long-
Like, I'm just going to play along.
So, yeah, so as you begin to drop out of hyperspace and fly toward Osis, Sol, you would be greeted by Ray, who has managed to collect her gear and is walking around. She's still looking pretty beaten up, but she's recovered enough during the flight to at least carry herself around like you.
Yeah, Soul would acknowledge it. She would see him sort of like instantly smile, like from where his head was sort of down in his solace contemplating of what's going on, and then he just sort of picks his head up like, oh, you seem to be looking much better.
Everything still hurts.
But you're walking with way more purpose.
To find you. I know I had to get away from Tatooine. But I don't know anything about the Jedi.
Well, you'll definitely be accepted among them if that's what you want, but there's no pressure. I just want to show you where I'm from.
So it's not a desert, right?
Definitely not.
So as you come out of hyperspace and begin to head down toward the planets, you see scattered forests and canyons, rocky terrain contrasted with a variety of trees and other such fauna. Sky is clear and blue. The ship passes by some large trees and begins to come to a slow stop in the docking bay. You're having to stop in the larger landing area due to the cargo that you recovered. And as you're landing and getting set, Sidani, you would hear the comms come across that the request to have the shipment has been heard, and that you can deliver it. Basically, it needs one of you to basically accompany it, and but not have volunteered to you and her, Sid, given everything that happened.
Fair enough.
So yeah, as you all land and ship touches down, steam coming out of the landing struts as the ramp falls, and you're all disembarking. R2 is leading R8 off to get looked at in the droid, basically in the droid shop for starfighters and all that, so that he can have some of his, well, the reason for his nickname of Scorch, have some of that looked at and see if maybe some panels could be cleaned or replaced, just given a full check. And yeah, otherwise the remaining 8 of you are there outside the landing pad. You see some vehicles coming up to come take the supply container, and otherwise it's fairly quiet at the moment. So what is everyone's plans right now? Obviously Venata and Sidani will be taking the shipment down to processing, but if anyone wishes to join them, they can. And then otherwise, you're all free to do whatever. Rey is going to go wherever Sol goes for now.
Cass has a leg to make.
Yeah, whoever meets them, like to take the cargo. Sol's just gonna ask if Master Skywalker is on planet.
Yeah, it would just be one of the dock workers. There is someone of a bit more note to speak to once they get there with it, but for right now, just setting up the transport. Say, not sure, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess Sol's going to go because he needs to debrief what happened with the cargo. So whoever then would he know like who to talk to if his father's not here for that?
Well, it depends on what you're meaning as far as like who they're taking it to, like basically the shipping master, more or less. You can give that report to them. Otherwise, you can probably find one of the other Jedi masters down in the main temple area to give a report to. Depends, but so if you're just focused on, hey, found your missing cargo, then just go with Sidani and Vidana.
Yeah, he was mainly wanting to talk to somebody about the Revenant to make that on record.
Ah, then yeah, you'd want to find one of the Jedi Masters, so probably go with Rey down into the main temple area and see if you can find someone.
Okay.
Right, and because the shipping master isn't a Jedi, just Alright, and Castum wants to go make his leg. Does Kadas plan to go with him?
Yeah, he might need some help getting around or want some help with the legs, so I'm there for my buddy.
You want me along as well?
If you
You
want
know,
to.
it
but-
really doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure how much we're expecting to make medical checks here, but yeah.
If I'm lucky and I get the right points for it, none. But
Well, I mean, it wouldn't hurt for Talia to be
yeah,
working on medical for you guys in general, though.
Yeah.
Because you need the crit removed too. Asked him.
I forgot that you have to have it removed as well. Yep.
Yeah, Sol will, before he departs, would hug Talia, and Sol just tell her to just, I'll meet you by the fountain later after everything calms down.
Yeah, she'll hug him back and be like, all right. And make sure you get Ray a room, too. Don't just leave her wandering the temple.
That's my next stop after I debrief about the Revenant and what we learned. Within reason. And just sort of winks.
Alright. So yeah, that just leaves Merrick. You going with Sid, Sol, or gonna hang out with the others, or do your own thing?
At some point, I would like to go to. I assume there's like a ranger barracks, and try and get some more pistols. But for now, I think I better go with Sol.
Okay.
And explain what.
Alright. So okay, then yeah, we'll start with Sid and Venata taking the cargo container to shipping master. All right. And so Sid, as you and Venata are walking, you see Venata checking her data pad. It's been updated with when you arrive, she was able to connect to her personal holo setup on the Onosis at this area and kind of update her information. And you just see her like shoulders sort of like, this is about the worst you've seen her posture in like the past few hours. It's not too bad, but definitely kind of like a down mood, and you just see her cycling through, and it says,
Okay.
just a lot of invitation requests.
Invitation for what?
Let's see. And she just holds up the data pad as the two of you are walking alongside the cargo containers hover system. He holds the data pad up and kind of squints at it. Peace Summit on New Alderaan. Yeah, and she just shakes her head no at that one and keeps scrolling. Art exhibition on Naboo, and she scrolls.
These are like fun.
Oh, officer's graduation on Anaxes. Oh, that's a. She stops for a moment before shaking her head and keeps scrolling through that one.
You're getting all these party invites. What's to be done about?
Nothing. Humble declination. And she just shrugs her shoulders. I've spent my whole life doing stuff like that. I'm rather be here with you and them.
Sid just kind of looks around the Jedi complex. Really? Compared to art and parties and food and all the pretty dresses, and you would rather be here.
It's different.
One more fun, huh?
You don't get to travel, and see the blown out, sandblasted junk shacks all that often. She just kind of smiles.
I don't know if you're missing that much there.
And she just says, well, maybe we can look at these. Sure, we could go to one of them.
Sid's eyes just light up. Can I see? And we'll stretch out a hand for the data pad to start scrolling through herself.
Yeah, you see the one she mentioned, and a couple of Hapen ones that she didn't even bother mentioning because those are even less interesting to her than the ones she did. But yeah, and you don't get too much time to look at it before the two of you go into the cargo processing area of Ossus's spaceport. And you see a Pauline woman, probably mid-30s, early 30s possibly. Long black hair tied up and into a very tight ponytail that points almost straight up behind her with just a little bit that hangs. And she looks down at the two of you from a hovering platform and activates the controls to move down with a big smile. You've had to meet her a few times for various things that have come for usually for Venata, like a dress or something that's being brought in. But yeah, as she lowers down, you recall her name is Cheeky Naga.
All right.
He, just gives you a wide smile and says, So you found some of our supplies after all.
Half of what we're hoping to find, but better than nothing.
It's always better than nothing. And she goes over and starts to scan it with her data pad. As you look around, you see other kind of similar containers, various supplies and the like. And then you see one that's been opened, and it looks like it has some animals in it. They're not in any sort of like cruel restraint, but they're obviously like kind of pinned/contained so that they don't go anywhere. You see a few smaller creatures, mostly birds.
Oh, who's starting up the zoo?
Oh, those are for the menagerie in the gardens.
Sid will walk over to get a closer look at the animals.
Yes, Master Janus wanted a little more than what we had to this point, so she's hoping to use it as part of education.
Oh, they're adorable.
Unfortunately, and she points to a winged creature toward the back, a very small one. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to send that one back. It's a little too independent.
Sid moves over to take a look at the creature. Too independent. It's hardly a problem.
Yeah, you see sort of a very small, probably like large enough to be held in both hands, and only a bit larger than that. Kind of mix between a dragon and a bird, kind of wings, thin wings going out from clawed arms and short legs that it kind of perches on, and you see it kind of face almost scrunches up a little bit around its beak, and it opens to see kind of little baby rows of teeth. It's sort of got kind of similar qualities of both. And as it kind of cries out a little bit at some of the other creatures, they kind of move, and Jiki just laughs and says, yes, if it were up to me, we would keep it, but it doesn't play well with the others. Needs its own home.
Doesn't play well with the others? What do you mean? And Sid kind of kneels down to take a closer look at it. Hello there, little guy.
Well, we don't really know what it is, actually.
Then, if you don't know what it is, where did you get these creatures then?
Oh, one of our expeditions. They just collected any creatures that seemed to have lost its packs or been on their own, rescuing them from harsh environments, that kind of thing.
Looking at the creature, could I make either a survival or a xenology check to see if I can figure out what kind of food it eats?
Uh. So, sorry. Yeah, make a xenology check. For difficulty and say a setback.
For difficulty and a setback.
Yeah, its coloration, by the way, is mostly orange with some kind of purplish hues coming off the ends of the wings.
Wow.
That all that time on Dathomir studying animals. So as you kind of give a look, you can surmise that while it does have some draconic aspects to it, it appears to be more avian than not. So you can expect that it probably eats kind of food you would expect out of sort of small avian creatures. The only thing you notice is probably due to the teeth, that means it's meant to be able to rip apart, so probably needs meat of some kind as well. Generally, you get the impression that it has the potential to grow larger than it is.
Well, this isn't your normal everyday garden bird. But, you know, I think it's adorable. What's the Academy's policy for pets?
And Banana just looks at you like, oh boy. and Jiki says, oh, I believe as long as you take care of it and take responsibility for any problems, all animals are allowed.
Sid gives a small hop in place, quick clap of her hands kind of gesture. Wonderful. And it's just kind of looking at the creature with a bit of glee.
Yeah, it seems happy that you're happy is the best you can tell, kind of screeching out with your movements and kind of jumping around, taking a short little gliding flight.
You wouldn't happen to have anything I could feed it? Worms, small rodents, anything on hand?
Believe I can send you some small fruits and maybe a rodent or two. She just shakes her head as she goes over the container. I probably shouldn't mention this, but since you went to the effort of finding this one, I should let you know what was lost. Most of the contents of the other container from this shipment was, well, kyber crystals. We were gathering. Yes, we were gathering them in quantities for the students so that we can keep most of the trials here.
What would someone have used for kappa crystals, though, besides Jedi?
They're connected to the living force. Quite valuable. A black market
Well-
jeweler could make quite a lot off of that shipment.
It doesn't sound too bad.
Yes, it'll just take us time before we can get more. The students will have to wait a bit longer.
It will be good for teaching patience and other such virtues, I'm sure. So looks back at the creatures, just like we might have to go out hunting a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
Jiki, once she's done cataloging the cargo container, comes over to the bird and clips it from the brain system and lets it kind of flutter around. It glides a bit and stops in front of you.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Seeing
we'll
your
put
arm,
up-
it kind of flutters its wings a little bit. It seems like it does a little bit better at gliding than like actually picking up air, but it does manage to eventually kind of fly itself up to land on your arm.
Aw. So it's going to very carefully, very slowly let it kind of become acquainted, but eventually she's going to pet the creature.
It just seems to calmly like allow it, and it seems to react more strongly to the other creatures around than to you. It sort of seems comfortable on your arm, but whenever like other creatures make noise, it kind of makes noise back. Again, alluding to what Jiki said of it's not hostile, it's just not happy being around other creatures.
Gotcha. Sid, meanwhile, just has this huge, idiotic grin kind of on her face, just completely happy and probably just looking at Venata going, look, isn't he cute? Just for a couple minutes straight.
Venata would come over and kind of say hi to it and pet it, and it seems to it definitely responds better to you than her, but it doesn't seem to mind her. Or kind of rub its head a little bit before kind of smiling to you and saying, well, if we're going to go to any of these, I suppose we should talk about a few things.
That might be good. Oh, Kiki, what might need some kind of bed or something for the I'm going to need to think of a name for you, aren't we? Do you think you could put an order in for me?
I'll see if anything amongst the menagerie supplies would work. And that with the food.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
So with that, Venata kind of waves you out of the cargo area.
And Sid will follow.
Just
Probably
saying.
inquiring about, so what's the policy of pets at some of these events?
If you can get it to behave, Some are a little more open. Most, you need to stay on the ship.
Sid looks at the bird and tries to gauge whether or not she thinks it will behave.
The bird just kind of looks back with slightly squinted eyes. You're just not sure.
Right.
And then, yeah. So as the two of you walk out, we'll go over to Sol, American Ray, as you go down into the main temple grounds. Citadels rising around, training grounds as far as you can see. Ray just kind of seems in awe of everything, mostly at the architecture of the buildings, although she does appreciate that not everything is like rocky. There is some plant life. And
Yeah, Sol's sort of taken up tour guide and like explain what each thing is as we're passing.
and she would just kind of look at the people training, and you can see almost feel slightly self-conscious, like you see her kind of shift her back where her staff is and kind of like doesn't have a lightsaber, so feels weird kind of thing. And yeah, she's just again dressed pretty much how she was on Tatooine, because she didn't have much else for clothes, and has the staff and rifle on her back and just her bag with other gear. But as the three of you progress and go into the main common grounds, you see the Jedi Master that was mentioned earlier by Jiki, Sari Janus, a Togruta. She is, to your guess, probably in her 40s, so you wouldn't really quite be sure. Has fairly long and well-developed leku and head. It has some decorations around her various parts of her head, and mostly skin tone is mostly purple. Has a little bit of kind of blue sort of coming off of her face mostly, and then it gets purple and white going up through her head tails. And she is very calmly just kind of smiling and saying hello. Probably seems to be kind of just looking over the grounds and making sure nothing is happening. She sees you approaching and looking a little... You and Merrick both look a little rough, so she just has a look of concern. Sol, what happened to you?
What didn't happen to me? I left Osis. That's normally the first thing that happens to me.
Oh. Here, I hoped you were in an accident. So tell me...
If only.
So tell me, was this all self-inflicted, or... did you have to make some difficult decisions?
I believe making difficult decision is self-inflicted when you appoint yourself a leader of a group.
Yes, I suppose so. She looks at Merrick and almost gives him a smile. And I see Been taking good care of yourself?
I'm in good shape. You should see the others.
She looks at Ray behind the two of you. She's tried to look kind of casual, mostly still just looking around, not really trying to interject herself into the conversation, but
Yeah, so
says,
never mind.
she would just say, definitely seems like you need to get cleaned up.
Yes, apologies, Master. This is Ray Dameron. She sort of saved us on Tatooine when we were in a bind.
Ah. And Ray just kind of notices she's being talked about and just smiles and nods and says, yes, yes, Sol helped me more than I helped him, really.
She's being modest. The Force brought us together. We seem to be walking the same path.
I see. Well, she is. I can feel something on her, that is for certain.
I'd like to request guest quarters and all the amenities that she may need.
Of course. Yes, you can stay as long as you need to. Thank you. She's just not used to that outside of Zuki.
Now, on to other matters. We were trying to get the lost shipment that made its way to Tatooine, but the shape we're in is due to some troubling characters that showed up.
Oh?
Has any of the masters or knights run across someone calling themselves Revenant with a female counterpart?
No, I'm afraid that is not familiar. Distinctive details you can recall other than the name?
Yeah, Sol would describe like both Revenant and the female, which in character Sol doesn't know who she is. He didn't get to know her like everyone else.
Right.
If Merrick wants to fill in those details.
Yeah, I will. I'll wait for Sol to finish, and I'll talk a little bit more about Kari. Kari, I believe, she follows this revenant, but I don't think her heart is in it. She doubts the path he walks. The most curious part about him, Master Janus, is his gold lightsaber.
Strange.
That's an unusual color.
He is hunting after Rey here, and he dislikes the way the galaxy holds Skywalkers, I guess.
Well, that's not too uncommon amongst Darksiders, Sol.
He feels on the path of the dark side, but doesn't act like a Sith. I don't think he's one of them.
He was an honorable combatant. He could have killed me, and here I am.
Well, if someone with that power and drive is out there, then At least there is some hope that they are not fully gone. At least we don't have to concern ourselves with the possibility of the Sith making new movements. We haven't seen them since the war. They are no doubt still around, but... Gold lightsaber. A few Jedi make them. What you describe, more likely he created it himself.
Yes, he seems like he's more on a personal quest than that of a group, but that's more of my observation than fact.
And you say he was after her? After this girl?
Yes, he seemed to have wanted to train her himself, but that her power could be dangerous in the future. But with that fear, I felt like he would make a very poor teacher.
You see her kind of studying Rey with more detail before saying, well, then perhaps you should show her what you think is best. And
She would like to learn of the Force, but does not know anything of the Jedi, and I cannot take a Padawan, but do I have permission to at least have her observe me and know enough to keep herself connected and under control in the Force?
of course.
Like to overstep or overreach.
If the Force brought you together to save her from this revenant, then it wouldn't be right to separate you.
She seems to favor a staff. May I put in a request for a training saber staff? For instruction, of course.
And she looks at the staff, and from what she can see of it, and says, it appears to be of Cortosis. You should be able to train with that until you feel she's ready.
Very well.
All three of you should get cleaned up and some rest. I doubt your revenant would dare come here.
So I'd bow and just sort of say out loud, I'm sure my father be made aware that we have made it back here.
To my knowledge, your father wasn't aware you left. I have no reason to alert him of the change of status. She gives you a smile and walks away. To observe another training exercise.
Well, at least we have time to settle in. Sort of, Sol stares at Merrick when he says that.
Yeah, I could use a good rest on a soft bed. I'll tell you that. I've had it up to here with sand, Sol. Up to here.
Ray
If-
just wants a shower.
Merrick, if you run into Father before me, may I explain things before you get a chance to? I think me and Talia should speak to him first.
Yes, I will tell him it's not my story to tell.
Thank you. I'm sure you have other tasks you need to do besides take a shower. I'll leave you
I
to it.
have a holster here that needs filling.
All right. So yeah, as you venture off to get some rest, that takes us to Castem, Kadas, and Talia. Would you have brought anything from the ship's kind of labs and stuff with you to look at while you're all in here? Or did you just come straight here?
We have some of those drones, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well take a look at those.
Yeah, it's for now we'll say it's more you're just kind of looking at them narratively and not mechanically yet, since you guys have other stuff you want to get to first, I think. But
Mhm.
but
The
Something a
ship would
bit
have-
more important.
The ship
Yeah.
would have all the data that R2 collected too, that can be broken down.
all right, so yeah, I think someone needs to start getting the parts together for the new leg.
Thankfully, I have the money for it, so
All right, well, yeah, go ahead and make your hard mechanics check. While
I'm going to suffer 2 strain to make that an average. With Master Artisan.
Talia, you may attempt a crit removal check on him, so he's actually able to have it installed.
And
Awesome.
I'll assist her with that.
So add a boost, and what would the check be for that?
It is a 3 difficulty.
Oh, speaking of boost, I forgot my boost from Inventor.
Did Talia ever take the medical pack and the blanket that I offered her?
I did not remember to put it on my character sheet for this week.
Ah, because they will reduce the difficulty of crits.
Well, since I forgot it, I can.
Well, I
Say that it
would
doesn't
also
use it.
say, since Cass is trying to work right now, I'd say he wouldn't be able to get the benefits of the blanket, since he's building a
That's
leg.
also a good point.
I mean, you don't have to do them at the same time. You could.
Well, the
No, we're
leg's
just-
gonna take a while to make.
Thankfully, not as long since I have the intelligent toolbox, which halves the time.
Yeah, that's
But
a
still, it's still
while.
5 hours.
6 hours. But yeah.
Prosthetic replacement says crafting time 10 hours.
Hmm.
And then
I'm
halving that.
Sorry, I was looking at prosthetic appendage, which says 12, so my bad. But yeah, I see what you're. Yeah, well, it's 12 in the book, so we're gonna go with 12, but so 6.
Okay.
But yeah, and then so you're able to get it tailored. You're also able to say Rough part's a leg.
Yeah, it was gonna be like, oh, integrated tool.
You just carry a toolbox in your thigh.
Yeah, not just a
What's,
toolbox, just like a whole plasma cutter.
What's the encumbrance of a shock boot? Can you check that for me real quick? Because if that's 2 or less, I'd let you inbuilt weapon into it.
Encumbrance too.
Cool. Then, yeah. If you want to put a shock boot into the leg, you can do that.
Okay.
If your hands get cut off, you can still fight.
So, I was just trying to think of something that I think makes sense given what you're working with here. So, yeah. When I'd say that, and obviously you got tailored, so then Talia removed the crit, so yep, you're oh, you do actually, hold on, you do need to roll one more difficulty because you're still crippled as well.
Ah, damn it.
Okay. Didn't so I think that just took away the ability to do the weapon as well, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, so instead I'd say you just got unobtrusive and tailored, so you're able to immediately put it on, and it's a setback to determine that it's even a cybernetic.
Alright.
Okay. Alright, then, yeah, so you start working on that leg, and Talia and Kadas start preparing your knee for it as you do. And yeah, and when you guys take some breaks during this, you check out the drones a bit. They seem to not have a lot going on at this point because while they're intact, they clearly are disconnected from the bulk of their processing because that seems to be done over, like, from the master directly. Yeah, so while you're working, Kadas, you would get hollow alert.
Oh dear. Can I tell who it is before I see it?
It's Mandalorian. Using a familiar family code, probably Ordo clan.
That's surprising, but yeah, we'll answer it and he won't really warn the other two off for privacy or anything.
So then you guys would probably be able to hear it. Hey, Kadas! And you hear kind of a gruff voice, and the hollow doesn't make out too much visually, it's mostly vocal, but appears to be your uncle Harik. You know him to be a pretty good warrior, a good pilot in particular, but in general a good fighter, and you see him sometimes at gatherings. He gets along pretty, not too often. Is probably a little bit higher up within the clans and the general hierarchy than your specific family.
Good.
Glad I could reach you. See, I'm on my way to Ossus to see you, and want to make sure we didn't cause any diplomatic issues.
Well, it's good to hear your voice, and I don't know. These Jedi seem pretty laid back most of the time.
Yeah, well, when you see what I'm coming in. Just need a clearance for ship.
Let's see. Kanos would probably have to talk to somebody about that, right? It's not like he has the authorization.
You would be considered a friendly enough person that you would be able to allow a ship with the under these circumstances, being able to give the reasoning, you'd be able to allow that without having to go to someone above you. Because it's family.
Yeah, all right. I'll transmit you my clearance codes. Just let them know your relation to me.
All right. Yeah, be there soon. Your cousin Zana's excited to see you again. She's well, hopefully you understand her better than I do.
Well, that's good. I think I have enough mead left for the three of us. And
I
catch
know
up.
it's been a few years, but I think she's a little young for that.
It's not that strong. We can put like a small cup.
She'll appreciate it. Why not?
Yeah, new worlds, new drinks, reunions. What else is it for?
Well, yeah. It's pretty serious, Kados, but I'll appreciate the drink when I get there.
All right. I was just assisting with a cyber or a prosthetic replacement, but I'll try to meet you as soon as you land.
Well, if you're working in a shop, we'll just come by. You know Zana. Want to see what you got?
Oh, I think I have something she'll want to see, and even though Connors probably isn't being transmitted like imagely as an image like he is, or Herrick technically is not, we'll just pat his flare saber.
All right. Well, I gotta return back to hyperspace if we're gonna make it by tomorrow, so see you soon.
Safe journeys.
Hello. Transmission ends, and you're left back in the silence of custom working and Talia working on custom.
Yeah, and Karas, I think during that conversation he actually had like a confident demeanor, and now he is kind of probably looking a little nervous, just in body language and movement.
What's wrong?
Uh, well, uncle and cousin are stopping by. I assume they have something the Jedi want to see. I don't think they'd come all the way out here just for me, but it's been a few years, and even with that, I just I need to get in some good shape before they get here.
Your family got us. They won't care. We'll just be happy to see you.
Well, I left my family and friends to come here to be better and I don't know if I've gotten good enough yet.
Are you better than when you started?
I'd say so, but
And that's what matters. We're going to spend a long time learning, and you've got a very long path ahead of you, too. But you're doing good. There's nothing to be ashamed in where you've come so far.
yeah, I suppose you're right. I just gotta try to set attainable goals.
Exactly.
Anyway, Talia, there's also something else I want to talk to you about, and Cass, I guess you can hear it too. You're pretty smart.
She kind of looks up from Cass's knee.
Yeah, she looks up from Cass's knee. Cass looks down at his knee.
A while back, Venata's guardian asked me to look after her.
Mhm.
And, it's not my first bodyguard job, but it's the first time the person I was supposed to be protecting didn't know. And, close proximity, and it complicates things in a team.
I suppose it can.
Do you think I should tell her, or?
Well, I am never one for liars or half-truths in any regard, but the matter of the fact is, Venata was left here under our care. Cortel was sent back already. So even in that regard, you certainly have done your job. We've all done our best to protect her. And I think whether or not you tell her, she's already going to be aware that we're always going to look after her. So you tell her, then nothing changes. Other than clearing the air, maybe.
Yeah, it's just, I wondered if I showed any kind of preferential treatment, that it could be misconstrued as something else.
The question is whether or not you want it to be misconstrued as something else. Either way, I don't see why you shouldn't tell her.
All right, I'll do that. It might be dangerous if she didn't know, or if the rest of you didn't.
Well, I would simply say try not to think too much into it. If you do like her in another way, and obviously she does for you in some extent, then you can be honest about that too. But whether or not you were told by someone else to keep an eye on her doesn't mean that your care for her was fake in any regards. You're still friends.
watching someone or being asked to watch someone isn't so bad. It's just he also implied payment of some kind, and listen, you know, we're all a little different, and I view some of your philosophies with a questioning eye, but I like you people, and I'd like us to be friends, if not allies, but eh, you know, you don't really want to tell someone that you were paid to watch them.
Did you receive any payment?
Not yet, and I did initially decline payment.
So you weren't paid. There's no fault there. You declined it, you didn't get anything for it. And even if it may have started as a favor for being told to do it, she just sort of shrugs and looks back at Castum's knee. It's just a matter of how you approach it. If you flat out say, I was paid to watch you, that might not go over well, but we've been through a lot since then, and, well, if it bothers you that much to want to tell her, then sitting down to talk about it can't go all that wrong. Renata's... She may be a princess in all regards, but she's here to learn, too. She's here to be one of us, and you don't need to treat her as anything differently.
You're right. I'll just have to try to, yeah. This is why I was never sent to negotiate. I'll try to put it in good terms.
The best you can do. Maybe think over what you're gonna say first. Cast and Maya are here to help you too, if you want it.
Speaking of which, you guys can continue the conversation, but you can, Kadas and Talia, you can each make one more medicine check during this period if you want.
Yeah,
And given how
Bug
beat
Boy
up
needs
everyone
help.
is, given how beat up everyone is, I recommend taking advantage of that. You can continue the conversation while you're making the checks. It's just, so what would you like to work on? You can work on crits or wounds. And you can, I think it's better if you each do one rather than continuing to assist.
Yeah, either Kadas wounds or custom crits. Take your pick, boys.
See,
Honestly, I'm kind of fine with either. The
Well, you're still crippled.
True, yeah. That does leave things difficult. Yep, never mind. I forgot about that one.
yeah, you can get on his crit if you'd like. I think I could be able to patch myself up. Okay. Well, don't I get a setback or an upgrade if I do myself?
It increases difficulty by 2. I'd recommend if you were gonna work on yourself to work on your wounds probably rather than your crits. But that's up to you. It depends on how easy your crits are. If
I have an easy and an average.
so, that would be a 3 or a 4 then.
Just checking the meta. Is that just all medicine or wounds I'm checking?
I believe it's all medicine, but make sure.
Is the difficulty for cast the same as last time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you have maimed and crippled gone, Jonathan.
Alright, so med aids for wounds, so
Woo.
that's what I'm gonna
Okay.
do.
All right. Then it'll be 4 purple check for wounds. See what you can get.
And I get a boost because I have a med pack.
All right. Just 3, or do you?
Just 3. I think the stim pack specialization only works for that, so
Yeah, just for that. Yeah. Okay, then down to 17. Go ahead and and so we'll go ahead and knock everyone down 1 as well. I'll do that real quick for everybody. To cover the coming night.
in case, someone wants to punch me in the face, I can take a hit.
Okay. Group is still pretty beat up, but they're slightly less beat up now. Okay, so yeah, you just keep working custom. You're able to get the leg done and attach it and walk around, and your arm's no longer feeling quite as out of it. So, getting to be in good
Yay.
shape, relatively speaking.
Just not a horrible shape.
Yeah. The soul is still definitely in the worst shape now. So, yeah, so just before you guys all turn in for this night, Soul, after doing everything you've kind of been doing since you met up with Sari, you would, if you went to check in on Ray, you would just find her in kind of basic clothes, collapsed on the bed, just like out. Like her gear just kind of scattered around. And then I imagine you and Talia would eventually meet up by the fountain, like you mentioned.
Yep. Just some debriefing of our own on how to approach Father.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'd say as everyone else is settling in, so yeah, 2 you are by one of the fountains outside. Night.
So how did surgery go?
Well, he's back up on his feet. It's still a little worse for wear, but up.
If he's on his feet, it sounds better than just well.
Certainly. It's definitely a good thing. I'm glad.
And how are you doing?
Tired, to be honest, but it's been a long couple of days. What about you? You still look like you got stampeded by a herd of bantha.
I wish I got stampeded by a herd of bantha.
I'll give you a check over tomorrow, if that's all right.
That's fine. Speaking of tomorrow, we're going to need to address Father at some point.
Starting with what?
Don't know, but I believe he'll notice as Sol points out all the makeshift bandages all over him.
Yeah, she'll laugh at that and just kind of pat him on the shoulder a little bit. Unfortunately, yeah, you look like a walking advertisement for bandages.
I believe we should tell him about the shipment and Revenant. Um, don't know if we should tell him about the others we ran into, since that sort of goes along with previous adventure.
Does he have any reason not to know?
the
About
droid
why, or...
the droid specialists?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's going along, it sort of ties into what he was looking into, but we still are kind of in the dark of how all this ties together.
We are. We at least know the Revenant's goals, but I don't know if there's any harm in mentioning it, but the important part is about the Revenant and what that means. I mean, he was obviously trained, and he doesn't seem like a Sith. That alone gives me enough cause for concern.
Hopefully just someone misguided that can be corrected with the right guiding hand or words. At least I hope so.
Would be the nice option. But yeah, that's the important part. And everything else, all the wounds and injuries and mistakes that we made, those go hand in hand. But
Speaking of mistakes, the main reason I asked to meet, outside of making sure to check in on you with you helping everyone else, there was a point that I don't know if it was fear or anger, but I might have slipped up.
well, if you did, I did too.
I know we made a promise to hold ourselves accountable to each other.
Well, I'd call this accountability. She just kind of smiles briefly and touches her necklace under her shirt. It's a lot harder stepping off the grounds of Ossus. I'll tell you that much. It's a lot easier to fall into the moment of things, but I think we did okay.
Yeah, just scares me because out of trying to protect everyone and do the right thing, I didn't even think twice about reaching out to that power that was there to help.
Oh, Sol. She'll reach to take his hand. It was just a moment, and it's something we can be careful of, but you did a lot. You did so much, and I'm really proud of you. And like you said, you do so much for everyone else, and when it came down to it, you were willing to do anything. There's nothing wrong with that if your intentions are good. It's just about learning how to manage that. That's what we're doing.
I just hope if I feel the need to reach out again that you'll be there. After you were put in danger with the Wookiee, I tended to try to put space between us to not have attachments, but I feel like that was an overcorrection.
I know what you mean, but you know, Sol, I told you to make that promise all those years ago. I think partly because I was still so young, and I was a lot more scared back then than, well, I hope I am now. But I've realized something is that there's gonna be a day when we aren't going to be able to to walk by each other anymore. Even though it's not a day that I want to think of, it's gonna happen. And our attachment just means that while we're here, we're going to do whatever we can. But there's gonna be a day when we're gonna have to step aside. And we're gonna have to be willing to face that day, knowing that everything that we've done with each other can keep us moving forward.
I agree, especially with the Force guiding me to Rey. I feel like I need to move forward, helping her. I don't know why. Just a feeling.
And it's wise to listen to that feeling, so you've always been better at that than me. And as for the girl, I'll check in on her in the morning. She could probably use a couple friends around here.
Thank you. I do not want to be the only one there. She had that in the past. I want her to feel that she can rely on others here. But you need to make sure to take care of yourself now that the others are sorted away.
Yeah, I'm due for a very long nap. Don't worry. I'm always good at minding myself.
Well, I think I'll leave you then, sis. I feel the the weight of my injuries finally catching up to me.
Yes, of course. I'll see Ray in the morning, and then I'll see you. And then we'll talk to Father.
Sol's bow his head, and before leaving, Sol's gonna go grab his mop to clear up any little dirt or blood spots that he may have gotten around the fountain.
Yeah, Talia would go ahead and go back to her quarters after that.
Okay. With that, we head into the next day here. And Sid, you find yourself in your room, just the littlest bit of light peeking in before you loudly hear the door slide open with a rush, and Venata walking in with several sets of clothes kind of wrapped around her arm. Hope you're awake.
Kind of just rolls over and puts the pillow over her head until she notices the clothes, and then she sits up. What? Yes, I'm awake. I'm good. What's
Yeah.
that?
We're gonna get you better at, and she kind of her outfit right now is kind of white top, lacking her jacket, since she's just walking around, and kind of black belt, white pants, black boots, and she said, "Get you looking a little better. If we're gonna do some of these things, you need to And she kind of
Sid just kind of looks at her with the bed head, hair everywhere.
that. She curls a bit of hair around her finger and points at that.
What's wrong with this? To kind of glances up. Birds probably peeking through. All they have fluffiness as she shakes her head. Okay, point taken. Ooh, right. What time is it? She'll look out the window.
I don't know. I was moving from here to there. As dawn was like, half hour ago. Had to get things, and like it's looking at you like, what? You don't have an early routine kind of look. And then she sets some of the clothes on the wrist sort of desk area and says, okay, I'm gonna get up. First thing you're gonna learn about noble life is a whole lot of this.
So it kind of lets out a groan and just kind of look over some of the clothing hoarded up.
You know, she kind of leans one of the clothing pieces a little closer to you and says, "Yeah, we might have to work with it a bit." We're not identical. And she moves into kind of your refresher space and starts things around.
Where's the armor in these to kind of turn the clothing around?
Right, armor. Oh. Don't worry. And she tosses you the corset equivalent. That'll choke you.
So it kind of looks at it, gives a yawn, and starts to pull itself out of the bed. So, okay, what order do I even put these things on in?
Did you repeat that? I didn't quite catch it, sorry.
What order do I put some of these things on in? She holds up one, but I'm already kind of lost.
So we're gonna do with this, and she kind of comes over and just starts sort of taking what she had thrown at you and what you had kind of grabbed and like setting them aside and kind of saying, so we're gonna start with you. And she kind of grabs at your hair and sort of starts brushing it and such. I'll explain this as we go.
Thanks. I kind of need it.
Yeah, and and Jess, just to give a quick out of character note, she said that'll choke you about the corset because they don't have exactly the same build. So yeah. All right. Yeah, so as she kind of gets started with that, we'll go over to Castum and Karas. Castum, is there anything you want to work on today or anything in particular you want to be doing?
Yes. I was kind of hoping to look at those drones and see if there's a way to deal with them better, easier, deactivate them, block signals, something.
Yeah, sure. You can begin studying them. So I'd say you have different ways you can learn about and figure things out about them based on education, mechanics, and warfare, depending on which way you want to kind of pursue. So which one do you want to start with?
I would like to start with the one that has the best option, or best dice, and that would be mechanics.
Right.
Because education and warfare are both triple green.
Yeah. So make that so that'd be a hard check with 2 setback, and yeah, start checking that out. Kadas,
Are they all going to be that difficult, or
no, varies on each one.
okay, just checking.
Cool. All right, I'll get to you information about yours in a minute, but you start checking them out. And Kadas, what do you want to do? You have time for probably to do one thing before you presume Herrick will arrive with Allana.
Why don't I try to mod my custom grip on my lightsaber for the accurate?
Yeah, if you're doing modding stuff, I'd say you can do multiple things if you want. So if you have multiple things you want to do at least.
I have I have a lot of options to do, but I think I have enough credits or parts on hand to do 2 or 3.
Oh, then we'll see how they go.
All right. First up will be the
I
lightsaber
know.
custom grip.
I know I'm doing my own thing, but is there any way I could give him a boost while he's doing that? Because these attachments are kind of important, and don't want to waste that money.
You can boost because you got advantages on your mechanics check. I'd say you can boost the first 2 that he does.
All right.
After that, it's on him. He's on it.
All right. And let's see, the mod starts out at 3, right?
Yes, if it doesn't have any, correct. All right. So far, so good.
Yep. And we'll do.
You can give your. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead. It's just gonna be another custom grip, but on the pistol.
I was gonna say you can give yourself a extra boost on the next one because of the light pips.
Ooh. All right. I said I was gonna do the custom grip, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I have 4 boosts on this next one. One from
yes. One more than you had here. Yeah. Get the money back, but mod is shot.
Destiny.
Unless, yeah, or you can Destiny it, yeah.
I was half joking, but like this is supposed to be the quiet episode, so I was even tempted to use one of those Destiny for my leg, but.
And here's the other thing: flaw of vanity.
You don't want any dark side influence, I take it.
We're going to say no, but it's kind of like it's just like a very disgruntled no to the Force. It's just
Actually, if you want, you can have the triumph either be you get your money back or you lose the money, but you can attempt it again, I'd say. I'll allow either.
I'll lose the money.
You have to. Can you attempt it again immediately? That would be the only. You have to be able to attempt it immediately.
I think I can. Let me check.
Can attempt it again immediately, then we can.
Oh, yeah.
It's a custom grip, right? That's pretty cheap.
Just remember, you have 2 less boosts, though.
Okay, and I had and I have to cost. I'm out 50 credits on my blaster mods I have in inventory.
Well, for some reason,
Well, you did it that time.
It's just calmly recentered myself. Just just got real close to throw in the toolbox, and just like, no, there's no passion. But yeah, I think that's all the time I have for is 3 checks.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, then I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy.
All right. Then, yeah, so we'll move on to Talia then, checking in on Ray. Sol, do we want to go ahead and assume you're gonna just take a trip down to the healing area?
Oh yeah, I set my
And-
alarm for like as soon as the first medic ever shows up there. So he's
so you
whatever
can,
the first shift is, he's heading down there.
you can spend a day in the back of the tank.
Yeah, he's not even just gonna walk in, like grab the mask and just open the top and get it without even talking to anybody.
I imagine he even has one with its own nameplate saying "Souls."
At this
Yeah.
point, yeah.
All right, so cool. Then yeah, so we're gonna say that's what you're doing. And Merrick, I assume you want to go shopping, right? Or quote unquote go shopping.
Yes, I would love to go.
Okay, so go ahead and type in our shopping chat everything you want to buy, and I'll go over it in a second while Talia's talking to Ray.
One thing, Sol would put up a curtain so while he's in there, just so his father, if he happens to stop by for any reason, doesn't see him sitting in there, so he has a chance to explain when he's not in the tank.
Sure. Okay. So Sol's in the tank, Merrick, like I said, get me the shopping list, and we got intermission coming up in a few minutes, so we'll take care of that during intermission. But yeah, so Talia. See Ray.
See Ray.
Yeah, so we're told where her quarters were by Sol, and
Yeah, so
doors
probably gonna.
Oh, I was gonna say door is unlocked because she doesn't realize that's a thing yet. So yeah. What were you guys?
Yeah, so Talia would still go up and knock on the door and be like, "It's Talia. Can I come in?"
Ah,
So she'll open the door and shut it behind her and kind of stand a little awkwardly in the doorway, but just still kind of smile. And I
yeah. You
thought I
just
would.
see her in the clean clothes, hair basically completely out and let out. Not quite as bad as Sid because she slept on her stomach and not her hair, but so hair out a little while, not too bad, just not as contained as any other point you've seen it, and looks like she's been kind of hand cleaning her various gear and stuff, trying to get them looking okay. Otherwise, it's just wearing very, very simple, just covering,
Gotcha.
tunic-like shirt and baggy pant-like stuff.
Well, it's good to see you're looking better. I thought I would come check it on you.
Oh, cleanest I felt in a long time. Better, I don't know.
Yes, I'm sorry you've had such a rough trip here. It's sort of an unexpected set of circumstances.
Story of my life.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I at least wanted to make sure you were settling in okay. I know it can be hard when you're somewhere new and don't really have the lay of the land. But the Jedi Temple's open to you as a guest. I'm sure we could find you extra clothes if you wanted, or you're welcome to borrow any of my things as well, or come and see us in training.
Means a lot. And she just kind of focuses on the cleaning. You see her wince a little bit from inside from pain, but working on that.
And she'll just kind of hesitantly take a few more steps in. And is there anything I can do for you? Anything you want help with?
It grabs her side and I'll be okay.
Are you still injured? I can take a look at it for you if you want.
She seems a little hesitant, but nods with a kind of a small smile.
Time for more medicine checks, please.
Can like it.
Yeah. So yeah, she would I'm presuming this was her intent, so she probably has at least some medical supplies with her and kind of walks over and in between any moments of cleaning.
You could use the blanket if you want. Kind of help her lay down and use that.
Sure.
So, Gareth, does it remove 1 or 2 difficulty?
The blanket removes 1, and the medical backpack removes 1. So together they remove 2, if you use them both.
They allow down to simple?
Yeah, no, it's down to a minimum of easy, I believe.
Okay. Alright. So, yeah. Go ahead and make a one difficulty medicine check there. Crit a 1 crit.
Okay.
She still has 1 and 15 wounds.
Oh, poor darling.
Well, you can stay with her for a bit if you want.
Yeah. I figure we got some time before Sol gets out of that Bacta tank to talk to Dad, so yeah.
Okay, and so with that, we're going to go on intermission break for just a few minutes, and we'll be right back with the second half of the session. See you soon. All right, and we're back. We've sorted out everyone's shopping and all that other fun stuff, so now we're ready to continue on with the happenings of the story. As Kadas, you hear the sound of a speeder coming down from the main spaceport area. The passenger speeder, normal, just kind of taxi-like service driver in the front, but in the back you see an armored Mandalorian, silver armor with orange and brown plating and markings, Ordo clan markings, and fairly strong looking man. And next to him is more of a kind of Mandalorian training suit. There's a little bit of armor plating to it, but not much. No helmet. Girl with short, kind of blondish, brownish mixed hair with kind of flared out a bit, and is mostly looking around, but seems very focused on her data pad. And it's probably about, you guys had to guess, would probably be about 16, 17. And as the speeder comes to a stop, the two of them get out and join the fray of people around that area. But they quickly notice you, Kadas, and begin approaching you. You're not too far from the the kind of machinist lab that Castum's working out of at the moment. And
Yeah.
so you can take him there if you want, or you can take him someplace else. But as they approach, Harik just gives you a nod and says "Karas," and kind of does some symbolic reading, whereas Zana instead kind of moves forward with a bit of a grin and kind of grabs your arm and sort of pulls it and shakes it excitedly. This is really good to see you again.
Yeah, Cottis would have attempted the greeting before that, but he just kind of smiles and would try to ruffle her hair a little bit. And good to see you both. It's been a while since I've seen one of the people. Well, not that long, but that's a different story.
Yeah, as far as Zana goes, she's pretty tall, about it's about 5'10" or so. But she's also pretty lean. At least, at least especially next to you and her father. Between the lack of armoring and all that, but is pretty otherwise kind of just probably, you get the feeling has been focusing more on that data pad than athletic training. And
that's fine.
Yeah,
we gotta have some smart mandos.
Yeah, well, and Harik says, yeah, she's really been following in your footsteps. She's been visiting different academies and schools, trying to figure out what she can do.
Nothing wrong with that. It sometimes all you need is a different perspective. It's worked on me a little bit, and Cos will just kind of thumb a bit of that carbon scoring from the repeating blaster off his armor.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, it's your different encounters that I want to speak to you about. He removes his helmet and kind of similar hair to hers, just even shorter than hers, just kind of barely kind of poking out from the head, a few scars. And we've seen a few things. But says you were working out of a shop, right? Mind if we talk there?
Yeah, there might be something Sana might want to see over there from our most recent expedition.
And she just looks at you like, oh, okay. Yeah. Do you look at things a lot?
Well, time to time. I've mostly been working on myself, but there's a friend of mine in there, Castum. He's one of those. Well, you'll know him when you see him, and I think he's a little bit closer to your level.
And you see her just kind of smile and roll her eyes, like, meet any nice people?
They've grown on me. They're different here, but they're the good kind of different. And Kaos will start turning to lead them towards the shop, but he'll pause for a second to take his Shoto out and hold it out for her to grab, and just point at the igniter. Don't stick that in near your face.
You see her study it for a moment, kind of turn it over in her hand, and oh wow, clever. A little inefficient though.
This more accurate. It's just it's steadier in the hand than the longer versions.
Not a very good flare.
Point it away from yourself and everyone else, and then hit the ignition trigger.
And she hands it back to you. I know what it does.
Ikadas will just smile and ignite the blade.
Arik seems surprised. Her face doesn't change at all. Just keeping the very slight smile. She looks almost bored.
Why did I think that was going to be enough to impress you? Seems I must have slipped up somewhere. We'll unignite it and put it back. Anyway.
You'll get there.
I missed that. But yes, let's see.
You can say what you were going to say, sorry.
Yeah, let's see the real prize.
Alright, as you lead them into the shop, Castum, you would see Arik and Zana walk in.
Cass would probably stand up and then walk over, but clearly struggling with the new leg.
She like seems very interested in Castum and just kind of looking at him all over. Like,
Cass, this is Kurik and Zana. They're part of my clan, and this is Castum. He's he's a friend and a fellow fighter. Though, you know.
I don't know if fighter's the proper word, but I'll take what I can get.
In your own way.
Zana just nods like she gets it, and she's like, works, and she's kind of not subtly checking out Costume's like look, trying to figure him out in general. She's probably never met a member of your species before. And Harik kind of is the jock surrounded by nerds and just grabs Kadas by the shoulder and starts to move him off to the side so that they can speak a little more quietly.
So you mentioned something in your comm earlier, that there was something important that needed to be seen.
Well, something important that I needed to talk to you in person.
I'm flattered, but you know my position in the clan is there, why me?
Because you are the only lead. That I have. Any of us have. We've been trying to track down a member of the Fett clan that went rogue. We found out that you encountered her.
Yes, she, while myself and a Jedi were out investigating, we were ambushed by a Wookiee bounty hunter. And she assisted us then.
My version of events was not so kind, but was coming from a different point of view. Look, Kadas. We need to find her, bring her back to Mandalore. You're the only one who's had contact with her since she killed her squad.
Is that what happened? I had heard that she killed other Mandalorians, but we were under such pressing circumstances, I didn't have the time to interrogate her about it.
Three helmets. It's the clan leader's table. Across Mandalore's table. Got us.
I knew that, but I assumed it was some rivalry that went too far. It seemed, while I encountered her, that she was working off a debt to the clan, and I assumed the two were related, but
The only debt she owes us is blood.
well, I don't know where she is now. I don't have her information, but I know of the crew she's working with, or last was working with. If this is about Clan Fett and Mandalore, did she run afoul of us? Or you personally?
One of the helmets was ours.
At that, Cos will just kind of breathe deep and just if I had known that, but perhaps I shouldn't have given her the benefit of a doubt.
Kadas, you have to understand there's more to this than just that. The great importance that we get her as soon as possible. The longer she operates, the more likely it is to be known. She's the Mandalore's daughter.
that could be quite destabilizing. I'll tell you everything I know, but I'm not a hunter or a tracker. That was never my specialty, Uncle.
Yet you still were the one to find her, perhaps because of... Kind of looks around the building and looks out into Osis. Perhaps the Force or the Jedi or... You found her. When we failed for months.
Or it could just be a coincidence. Because I was helping my team trying to find terrorists, and Cinder's team was also trying to inhibit a shared foe. Oh. If Clan Ordo needs me to do this, if Mandalore needs me to do this, I will do everything I can. Finding her might be difficult, but between my friends and I, we might have a slim chance. Capturing her alive to face judgment, or is it wanted alive?
At this point, need her body. Mandalore would likely appreciate her living. If only to speak to her.
These people, these Jedi, if I told them that, they'd be less likely to help.
I have faith you will do what you need to do. If you find her and unable to get her yourself, then contact me.
I'll keep you informed, and if it comes down to it, and Gaz will just kind of look down, look back up at him. Do or die.
Claps you on the shoulder and nods and says, Zano, should we see more of this world before we return home? And Castum, you would have noticed at this point that Zana was really she was looking at most of the stuff you were working on, like your weapons and stuff, but then she got really interested in the drone masters, well, drone parts. And at this point, you guys would see her flying one around. Castum, you've while you were studying it yourself, realized that the signal does have the capability of being interrupted. You just have to figure out how to match the signal, and then you'd be able to disrupt or at least kind of attach onto it so that you could also control it. But it'll require actually getting the signal live, kind of thing.
I'm assuming it's something I couldn't do with my Mark 6 combat scanner then.
You might, if you had enough time to actually study and record it during a fight, you'd be able to, yeah. But you wouldn't have it from past information so far, no. But yeah, however, you would be surprised, and probably the others as well. She was able to, using her datapad, start flying it around. And none of its systems are really working. It's kind of just floating around and kind of just acting like a floating camera. But she says, how'd you get this?
I feel like the scorch marks on it should probably be able to... Are there scorch marks on it, or...?
Yeah, kind of.
Just,
a little bit.
like, one of the drones just has one scorch mark and turn around and just kind of point at it, like, Somebody tried to kill us, and,
Really? Wow.
yes, I got shot by these things a lot.
I didn't know they were weapon modified. And can't seem to find anything about that in her data pad, so she kind of just grabs it out of the air and starts looking at it. She says, huh, they modified the original design. Weird. Starts kind of looking around the wings like she's trying to find like if there are any other modifications to it from what she seems to be referring to.
I know people like that tend to prefer finding things out on their own, so I won't say anything about the design that we've seen so far.
Kados will, though. We'll just, the operator that used these is able to use dozens in coordination with each other. Not only as...
Would require a lot of tech.
And a cybernetic implant, I would assume. Transmit thoughts to action.
Strange. These were meant to be medical droids, like able to handle surgeries. I've seen them. On Anaxes when I was in the academy. One of the teachers, she invented it, and it's used to be used for medical practice.
Huh. Kados just kind of stare at his cousin for a while, and then over to Cass. Well, I believe we found a good lead here, thanks to Zana.
And she just kind of looks confused.
Well, they had to get the drone from somewhere, and not only will the original creator at least know how to help deal with them, even though they're modded, we might find where along the lines she lost a few, or somebody she worked with to create the blueprints for the drone. Or just me being pessimistic here, or she is the drone master herself, and we're just walking right into that.
Regardless, we need to get a little payback for Tatooine and the piracy the Jedi suffered.
Because, yeah, I've got the main academy, Professor Magra shield. He made these.
Allana, how custom work are they? Have these hit the market yet, or?
Oh, they're hers. She built everyone herself.
And that has made her a lot more suspicious.
He's brilliant. One of the best teachers I met. The only one I could talk to. And she kind of looks at Arik and you, and the two of you for a moment. It's like, and kind of nods her head from side to side, sort of like, well.
Give me some credit here. We need to tell the rest of the group this. And if this professor is working with Nai Jakata, perhaps they can have more information about the other target, and could also look at Kurik. Herrick.
Then I suppose Zana and I should leave you to your work.
Let's see. Knas would know like how to calm the Jade Shadow, right?
Yeah.
All right. You'll pass along that information as well to Herrick. Usually on this ship if I'm traveling, and if I'm not, so the Jedi who also encountered the person of interest are usually on it.
Understood. Pomendolo. He pats his chest before motioning for him and Thana to take their brief tour before.
Yeah, Knas would also do the chest salute. He'd do a slight bow, in recognition of Herrick being slightly higher. Well, Cass, looks like we might be able to return the favor for your leg.
Cass will probably just put a hand on his leg. As much as I want to, I shouldn't be looking for vengeance.
Then how about detainment?
That'll have to do.
Castle just pat him on the back. Let's go inform the others.
Alright, so as the others go about their time, Talia, you wanna make a wound attempt on Ray?
Sure. Same difficulty?
No, that's just 2. Oh yeah, so 2 difficulty, not 1. Okay. So, how much surgeon do you have?
It's 2? Yeah, 2.
4 wounds it is. Slowly but surely, the group gets better.
We'll get there.
Kadas, would you be contacting the others to, like, meet up?
Yes, I'd probably try to get them to come to a sparring room or somewhere where it's relatively private.
Okay. Then I'd say, Talia, you would get that contact from Kadas.
Ray, Kadas is calling us down to a sparring room. Do you want to come and watch?
Sure. And she gathers up just like a little bit of her equipment in case she's asked to join in, and goes with you. Sol, you'd get contacted, but you're still in the tank. Unless someone thinks to check in on Sol, Sol's gonna be in there for a while longer.
Fortunately, I don't think he told anyone where he was.
No. And Merrick, you similarly would be contacted. Do you go?
Yep.
Okay.
I want to go test out my new guns anyway, so.
Turns us to Sid and Banada. Sid, as you come out of the refresher in a new outfit, to the kind of pained expression on Banada's face as she's leaning back. Not that one.
Sid kind of looks down at herself. No,
You
She
might
looks
have
a little-
cut out there.
no. Sid looks a little confused as she kind of looks down at herself. Not this one.
That's doesn't go with your hair. It's okay. She kind of shrugs slightly. But
All right, on to just 3.
and then you would both get the contact from Kadas, and she grabs her comm and says, "Oh, well, better get dress 3 on quickly."
Sid kind of looks at her confused. Why? What's up?
Kadas wants us to meet up in one of the training rooms.
Sid kind of looks down at her dress. For sparring, I don't think this works for sparring. Would hate to ruin it.
You can't always get to choose what you want to wear and when you want to wear it. So put the next one on and we'll take it for a test.
Sid will grab the next one off the bed or dresser and will disappear for a little bit.
Yeah, so describe to us what this outfit is.
Probably I'm guessing this would be the noble regalia that's in Sid's inventory, then?
Oh, it could be any. You just if you want it to be.
Yeah.
But
Probably. I imagine Sid showing up, looking very unlike Sid. Probably overly formal. Hair loose instead of in the Dathomiri braids. As far as the dress goes, I almost want to say that for this it might be more of a tuxedo kind of dress. So
all right, so yeah, as you all head down to the training room, except for Sol, who's getting some much needed additional healing work. Yeah, you all meet up and
what is it you wanted to talk about? Are you looking to get your ass kicked by my sister again?
Nana just looks surprised at this. Kind of looks at Kanas like, is that why we're here? Kind of look.
I mean, it's never a bad time for it.
I'd welcome the challenge, but no, that is not the initial reason.
Ray just asks him, "Where's Sol?"
Kaz was look at Talia, the sister keeper and healer of her brother.
Talia kind of looks around the group, like, does someone else have a better answer? And then just kind of shrugs. Yeah, I don't know, but he's not dead, so it's fine.
I believe he might be getting some medical treatments. Master Janice told him to go and clean up.
That would do it.
Oh, well, if this is important, I'll go.
Yeah, if you'd like, and I'm not opposed to telling him later. I don't think it requires much secrecy, but I wanted everyone's input on everything anyway.
You're always welcome with us, right? Don't feel like you have to leave.
I'll go. And she kind of settles like her staff onto her shoulder. I'll go find him, and she kind of just turns and jogs off.
Could we not just calm the medical bay directly and tell them to wake Sol up?
Probably. He's already gone though. You guys don't. She doesn't have a comm yet.
And she doesn't know where the med bay is.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
You'll find her later.
Well, okay. I guess we'll fill in Ray and Sol.
Great. So who's the first match against?
Well, I'm not opposed if you would all rather wait, but
Well, you're the one who called us here. Should everyone be here?
I assume you called us to train. Yes, Mr. Rodo?
we could certainly use it, at least as a team, but who am I to judge? But no, Cass and I just were gifted with some very valuable knowledge. My cousin seems to know the identity of the mercenary that was using those drones on Tatooine before.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, just a little.
Probably worth getting stolen here.
And how does she know this knowledge?
Well, this is why I wanted to keep it secret somewhat, not say it out in the open. She seems to believe it was her former professor, Professor Magra, was it?
Yes.
Yes, and well, I don't know much about academics or who knows who here on Osis, and didn't want to announce anything to give her or any contacts of her here a heads up.
My, what's she a professor of?
Well, if I had to take a guess, probably some kind of droid expert. I don't know. I'm sure we can find out when we get to the academy.
Where is this academy?
That's where I'm going to need some help from because I don't know how to say it. Was it
Anaxes was the planet she
Anaxes?
said.
Anaxes. Never been myself.
Sid just kind of looks at Venata and then back to the group. We might have a way in.
Really?
Do we? And she looks at Sid. Do we have a way in?
Well, I mean, how much guests can you bring on that invitation?
And she looks to the others. I was invited for a officer's graduation. A lot of nobles are, especially in my age. It's imperial, you know, and they like to help them make connections.
Ah, of course.
Of course.
It's worse than I thought.
I'm sorry,
It's
Venata.
But it is a way in.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Why did it have to be Professor?
But I can't bring many with me into the graduation, but you should be able to accompany me in general, and that would get you on the grounds.
Hopefully that's all we need.
It's a graduation, so it's at the academy. We're just gonna be probably not wherever you are.
Oh, this is going to require subtlety, isn't it?
It's gonna require a different dress. And she looks at it. She looks at it.
There's still plenty left to try.
Oh, I like this one on you, but gotta look nicer. And she just you see her kind of like looking at whatever the nearest reflective surface is and trying to get like an idea of herself for that as you kind of leaving the rest of you to talk more if you want.
Well, we have a few days, don't we? We can get it all settled by then.
I have a few months of Jedi food. Hold on. You see her like trying to measure her waist. So yeah. If Sid wants to talk to her more, you can, but yeah, the rest of you can figure out what your plan or thought is.
Yeah.
I mean, I
plan.
don't know about the rest of you, but I'm excited to go to Anaxes. I've always wanted to see the War College.
Well, that actually bodes in our favor. Depending on what we're trying to do there, of course, other than meet a professor. The more that we can find interest there, the more that will belong.
I wonder if they do a tour of the facility.
You see Nada pull out her data pad and is looking through the details and it's like, oh no, it's Moff Tachi. Oh. The one overseeing the graduation. Moff Tachi. She is driven.
So what does that mean for us?
Precision?
Doesn't sound too bad.
Overbearing? It's gonna be hard to sneak around behind her back.
Well, not all of us have to be sneaking. I hardly know much about these droid doodads, so if you all want to handle that, I could accompany you and help keep the moth occupied. I'm sure we'll get along famously.
Can we just not get a warrant, Merrick? Can we just? Do we have to do this? Can we just not? What's your authority in the Empire? I don't want to do this.
I mean, we don't have any authority in the Empire. I feel like we have to either go to this graduation or just, visit the college. I don't see another way.
Can maybe get you in, but we're gonna have to meet with her first and can't tell her everything, but we can at least like give her something.
It's fine, okay? I'll speak to her. I'll charm the lady.
You're going to charm a lady?
Hey, I brush
and
up good.
You see fear in Venata's eyes, but just a big smile of surprise of like, oh, it's possible, but oh man, kind of look on her face. She is single.
Look, trust me, Talia. Once I've had a bath and a shave, I'm a new man.
I almost feel like storming it would
No.
be better.
We are not doing that.
Storming a war college does not sound like a good plan A.
Wonder if my dress uniform still fits.
Oh my god.
If
Yes,
it does,
Merrick, you go with that.
if it doesn't, we can work out together. You hear Vanada say as she's still trying to figure out. You can tell basically that Vanada's trying to figure out if she can wear a certain dress that she has, basically.
Sid just kind of leans over. You'll look fine in whatever you wear. Don't worry about it.
This is military.
Oh yes, they are going to be very exacting.
Well, getting into the college is one thing, but Kadas, what do you expect us to do once we're there? Sure, meet the professor and see if the claims are true, but why? What are we trying to find?
Well, according to Zana, the professor is the only person that can make these droids. Or drones, and perhaps she has, someone she's mentoring that could also be responsible, but whoever is behind our attack on Tatooine is either supplied and supported by her or could possibly be her herself. If it was up to me, we would just be a grabbing bag, but
So you want to try and arrest her?
I
We're
think it would be better
questioning.
to question her rather than arrest or bag.
Well, that's
Right.
why I'm not planning the operation here.
We at least have a clear goal. That's better than last time.
You see, you're already learning.
This moth, is she a, well, what words do we use? Aggressive nationalist? Or imperialist, I should say.
Imperialist, yeah. He has worked to get where she is, and is doing everything possible to ensure that she goes higher. And, military. she can't go see that, Not Merrick.
Somewhere in the background, you did hear Sid kind of snort and try to cover up her chuckles.
Hey, I could have gone far in the military if I wanted to.
Right. You didn't, though, and she does. And, that's what I mean. You're normal. Yeah. She's frightening.
We've seen a lot of frightening lately. We can handle this.
I'll just tell her about my heroics from the war. All the scars, the medals. I'm sure that'll win her over.
Her first husband did die in it, so that'll help.
I mean, I maybe won't mention that, but
No, I mean, she might view you better because you lived through it.
I
It's a thought.
don't know how to take that.
Well, I'm sure you can find something about her in the library before we leave. Might
I
help
can
you.
do some research. Save you the book work, Merrick.
I would be most grateful.
You'll have to try and find if your uniform fits still in that time.
I'm sure there's
No,
a
we-
tailor somewhere on this planet.
Or you could just exercise with us.
I mean, exercise is it's not really my expertise.
Too
I'm
old
sure
for it.
you and Sid could spar.
I mean,
Well, I don't think Bruce
punching and sparring is not really my expertise.
I don't think Bruce's would help his attempts to charm her any. The scars have to look ancient.
I
Panada just kind of grabs Merrick and Sid by the arm and say, "Okay, crash course, here we go." And kind of leads both of you off. So yeah, leaving Talia there with Tadas in costume.
Boys, looks like we're off to school. Again.
I
I was gonna say Kaz has never been to school, but this academy is technically school, so never mind.
Yeah, the graduation is soon, but not immediate, so you guys do have more time on Osus to recover. So Sol, you would be getting released from the Bacta tank at this point, and by the time you're out and on the other side of the curtain, you just see Ray kind of awkwardly standing around, looking some kind of mixture of anxious, bored, and embarrassed, and kind of looking at everything but the direction of your Bacta tank.
It's Soul just sort of like, while like getting dried off, just like, there's better views on Osis than the medical wing.
Well, it looked okay to me. I mean, yeah, and you just see her kind of get unsettled.
Soul's still looking. Does the curtain look like it's been pulled back in?
You get the impression it was probably brushed around to make sure it was you. She probably didn't ask, she probably just looked for you.
Yeah, that's safe to assume.
And then she says, the others were meeting and it seemed important, so I thought I should get you.
Oh no. Meetings are never good. Well, thank you. I need to get dressed. I can meet you in the hall when I get all my things ready.
Oh, okay. And she just kind of puts her hands behind her back and kind of moves down the hall a little bit.
Soul just like goes to get ready while drying off. He sort of like looks at his reflection in the glass to try to see like what she saw. Like And then, yeah, he gets dressed and goes to the hall.
So as you're walking out of the medical center, out you're seeing Osis midday again, similar thing, training and all that, and he looks at you, almost seems to have a sigh of relief that you're dressed, and then just looks back out again, and as she's looking out, says, "This is your life?"
Some of it.
Seems like hard work.
Yeah, there's studying history, studying the Force, lightsaber combat, negotiating.
Well, I've
learning etiquette.
negotiated. Kinda.
That's good. They teach a wide variety of etiquette from different planets here.
That I definitely don't have.
Your etiquette and manners were superb when we met.
What I remember, I remember.
Did you sleep well?
Yes. Better than the rumble of the everything. And your sister came by.
That's nice. Hope she didn't say too much about me.
Not much, really.
That's good. I tend people get the wrong impression from secondhand. You kind of have to get to know me to get to know me, if you know what I mean.
Think so. I don't really know me, so whatever we can figure out, work with.
Well, we will discover things together. Do you mind talking while we walk, so we can meet up with my friends?
Yeah. Just plants. And she follows you.
Yeah, Sol's just doesn't know what to say, so you're just gonna do the tour guide thing and just sort of be like, oh, those Padawans over there are learning about the connection of the Force with lifting rocks.
And lift rocks.
Yeah, the communing with the Force can do wondrous things.
Huh. And so the Force, I have the Force. That's what that armored
Yes, the
man thinks. Than you think.
yeah, well, you can when you have a connection to the Force, you can kind of sense other people's connection as you feel the Force and everything.
Able to sense you.
With understanding and training, yes.
Kind of. as you continue. Custom, Kadas, and Tali, I imagine they would get to you as you're all coming out of the area.
Ah, Sol. Right. Good you finally caught up.
Sol just sort of sees the direction I come from, like, you aren't we all too injured to be training? As he like sort of looks past you guys.
This is perfect time to be training. You have to learn to fight through the pain.
I've literally been doing that since day one.
That's why I respect you so much.
Oh, it's not carrying your lifeless body around.
Maybe not so much.
Talia just kind of glances between them for a minute. Anyway, no, we weren't training, though Kadas had some, news. Another adventure.
Ah, so training room equals secret meeting equals sharing information that equals something that's going to put everyone in danger?
Yep.
Got it. When we're leaving.
Kadas, when are we leaving?
I assume whenever this graduation party is, we'll probably leave. Before that, I don't know how far away it is.
Oh, a party. Those go well for us.
Graduation?
An officer's graduation on an Axis. Venata is currently giving Sidani and Merrick the crash course on formal party etiquette because Merrick is going to try and charm the moth of the school so that we can go and get information about a professor who may be the drone master.
I don't know if I want to stay here or go even more.
I mean, Merrick said he was going to take a bath and find his officer's uniform, so, maybe this is a gift to us all.
Do we have a plan B?
As of currently, no. Though I plan to do some research and hopefully this time I won't be putting a new leg on someone.
Yes, that's always the goal.
Cass will just ignore that. Selective hearing.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to a graduation of everyone celebrating the fact they all got trained to shoot people and try not to get shot by them.
Precisely. So we probably have a few days.
You see Ray looking a little out of it for a moment before she asks, "What kind of officers? What kind of school?"
Imperial.
Military college.
Kind of nods to herself and seems a little uncomfortable, but
Is Imperial a problem?
no.
Besides being uptight.
I mean, I guess I'd be more worried if you're more comfortable with going to Imperial party.
She just nods and don't actually have to go. We don't all have to. And she looks down at how she's oriented. It's like,
You're your own person. You can stay here and train if you would like.
no, I want to go with you. I meant there.
I'm assuming there's going to be people in our group sneaking around while others are dancing at this party. As Soul turns to look to the group.
Some of us might be doing neither. Can also just cross his arms and look a little grumpy.
Well, like before, Ray, I'm sure you've already found that we can't guarantee the safety of anything. But if you do really want to go, and everyone's agreed, I'm sure you'd be welcome, and we can make sure you have the proper clothes and the proper rundown of everything.
with the okay.
I'm sorry, Matt, what'd you say?
She said that she would help with the person who shot at her side of thing, the drone master side of things, rather than figuring out how to be at a party.
Can I do a sense check for her emotional state? It's just the basic one, so that's all I got.
Mm-hmm. So 2 things. One, when you go to do it, she immediately reacts and like feels it like as if she notices that you're doing something. Even though your movement and like actual action itself would be subtle, she's reacting as if she's feeling like actually feeling being touched kind of through the force. But as for what you actually sense, a very high, like almost like an anxiety spike that happened with kind of when details about this were being brought up, and almost like a feeling of trying to keep something down or hidden or kept to her, like a restraint, a very hard restraint. Yeah, to Sol and Talia in costume, you would just see her kind of recoil away from Kadas.
Yeah, Soul just sort of reaches hand out. She shudders like, are you okay?
I felt the force. Kadas, strangely.
Soul may suspect what's going on, looks at Kadis like, really? like a glancing look.
Ross will just look at her. If you don't think you're ready,
Go where Sol goes.
Well, we're all close here, so we have enough people to look out for each other. I'm sure things won't go too terribly wrong.
You're right. We're just going to a military installation. Very under-equipped. Can't fight our way out if it comes down to it. But, we are just going there to ask questions and maybe look through some data without them knowing. I'm not going to try to make this the quicker, more direct approach that should be.
See, I see it from the perspective of a bunch of Imperial allies to have our back if a bunch of droids start flying around and shooting everyone.
Yes, drones that were developed by an Imperial.
I've been
One
I've
does
been
not.
working on something for that.
See, Cassim was working on something with it.
It's just the bad news is we're gonna have to actually have them around us fighting for me to properly do it.
We just have to have them. Wait, what?
I'm working on something to jack the signal or at the very least stop it from getting to the drones, and I need to analyze the signal itself. So that means it has to be sending the signal, which means we have to fight them. Technically.
If we do our job right, then it won't come to that.
The drone we got's like a complete working one, right?
More or less, it's banged up, but it can be made to work, yeah.
Yeah, so Sol's just gonna like ask Cassim, like, if we remove the guns from the drone we have and we take it with us, and she sends the signal out and it receives it, couldn't you do that without us being in danger of the ones with guns around us? Because it would still get the signal up like the others, wouldn't it?
That's actually a good idea. We
Yeah,
could also
just GM note, yeah, you could do that. Just keep in mind you're basically having to carry it around though.
How much?
Encumbrance? Oh, it's probably
yeah.
like, I need to double check to be sure, but I believe it'd probably be.
You cut out after. I believe it would probably be
3 or 4 to carry. Sorry.
okay.
And surface size is it's like X-wing shaped, and it's at least big enough for it to be stepped on, so it's not like you can hide it real easy though, right?
Well,
No.
I mean, I was kind of thinking of just getting rid of pieces like the sensors and its actual flight capabilities, so it doesn't detect us when it does get a signal and can't leave, So I can actually keep it next to me and actually get the signal.
If you want to go the other direction, we could perhaps find a tracker or a transponder and attach it to the one we have. And if it returns to the swarm, then we know for sure, right?
Only problem is she might realize that she has one extra than she did before.
Also, if she's a genius in reading signals and paying attention to the signal her droids are putting out to control them, she may pick up on another one.
Hope she's not smart enough then.
Yeah.
Eh,
She made these, and most likely programmed them herself.
Yeah, I like Castom's idea. If we can have the signal just going to it, even if you can't hijack or study the signal as close as you want, at least we'll also have a warning system that the droids are swarm is being operated.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a way to lessen the risk here.
All right. Well, it sounds like over the coming days on Ossus, you guys would be recovering some more. Castum would be trying to figure out how to do that, and Sid, Merrick, and Venata are trying to get themselves in shape and set to be in height and formal outfits.
When Sol's not recovering, he'd also like to take Ray to like some youngling classes to sit in for like the basic understanding of the Force and different things.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get some medical done for the gang here. So let's see, Talia, how about you work on does Merrick have any crits? Gareth?
No crits now. I had the one that we took care of. So
Alright.
it's just the wounds now.
Okay. I'm trying to help get the group under control crit wise. So Talia, maybe work on one of Sol's crits and cut us on Ray's last one to get her clear.
Okay.
Probably work on only do one of those per day, so kind of having to work through that. Speaking of which, let me for everybody. And yeah, let's get the medical checks happening. So Kadas, it's just an easy for you. And
I have
Sol,
one average left,
Okay.
so I'll probably do that one, and then just leave these.
yeah, Talia, you reduce that to a easy though because of the blanket. So one purple like what Kadas rolled. Okay, Ray is clear of crit. Sol's down to the easies. Okay, and Castum, make a mechanics check. So you're trying to strip it down basically, so it's only the what's needed.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure it's not a threat to us. No weapons, no sensors to identify us or its own location. No thrusters, so it can't get away. And honestly, I'd preferably also like to figure out a way to make sure it doesn't transmit its own signal back. But that's for not right now.
4 difficulty, 2 setback.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're successful in stripping it down while still allowing it to work. You work on it long and hard, and hopefully you didn't miss anything.
Love how you say, hopefully you don't miss anything with that 4 setback.
No, you just increase the signal to be even stronger, so they know the exact location of where it's at.
Okay. And so Merrick, as you and Sid are sitting in a room, basically she has Venata has Sid trying to fit into a kind of a nice white dress that is like kind of shoulder to floor covering. It's like trying to get Sid into that, and while she is, she also goes over to Merrick and kind of sits him down at a table and says, "Okay, pretend I'm the Moth. What do you say?"
Greetings, Moth. Did I ever tell you how I got this scar?
You
No,
just see her. You
that's
just see her
not a good
look
opener.
straight down.
Hmm.
Sid, you would be able to. Sid, you would be able to hear that, by the way.
Yeah, Sid's over there trying not to laugh at Merrick.
Okay, well, look, I'm rusty. Okay, I'm rusty. I've been looking after the kids for so long.
We're looking
Right.
after you.
And so Venata, she kind of situates herself. She straightens out like her top, kind of pushes her chest up and out a little bit, and fixes her hair, and kind of leans forward and just says, "Hi there." And kind of is very clearly like, it's obviously not the realest flirting you've ever had, but she's trying. And just, "I am Moth Arcadia Tachi.
Greetings,
Would you speak
Mostachi.
to me?"
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh,
I'm honored to be here on a Nexus. I've always longed to see the college, and it's hmm. 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 Trying to think about how I want to say it. Always longed to see the college, a place of great military tradition and learning.
yes, I've
You must-
continued to uphold that tradition. You see her, like, Venata's clearly trying to like, carry herself how she clearly views this Moth to act. Yeah, so how about you make a, let's say a charm check against... Go ahead and say 2 red, 2 purple. Got a boost, though.
Guess that frets just Merrick wipes a little sweat away.
Yeah, so you go back and forth for a moment, and Venata leans back. It's like, oh, I mean, we'll get past hello. And she kind of looks at Sid and gives her kind of look like, he's okay.
Don't worry, I'm
Just
gonna
kind of-
practice in the mirror.
It's going to be a lot of practice. If floating doesn't work out, what's your plan B, Merrick?
Tell some elaborate lie.
Such as?
There's a plot to infiltrate the academy, and only the Rangers have special knowledge, which is why I've been sent here. And I was trying to be discreet and get to know her a little more, but now I'm afraid that I have to take direct action.
And what's the purpose of this lie?
I don't know, maybe I'll just distract her so the rest of you can, get into trouble like you usually do.
Like we usually do.
I'm not the only one that gets into trouble.
And how do you plan to distract her if flirting and lying don't work?
At this point, Venata has come behind Sid and has started, like, trying to get her to straighten her waist and her shoulder, like, as you're talking.
Well, okay, look, you should be impressed I came with a plan B, let alone a plan C, okay?
Always be prepared. You have all the time in the... You have a couple of days to at least have multitude of plans to come up with.
No, I mean, look, this is going to be easy, right? I'm gonna, I don't know, read some books about this this dating thing. I might watch a holovid about it.
Oh.
Maybe you
Knight,
should be
great.
You're welcome to join us, but maybe you should be focusing on learning more about her.
What's Talia's doing?
Tyler's not going to be the one interacting with her.
Why not? She could
I'll go read a
be
book about the moth.
Merrick's assistant, maybe.
It's okay. I have a built-in comlink, right? So all we do is Tali is on the other end, and whenever Moff Touchy's talking to me about something, and I don't know what it is, Talia knows what it is.
Right. Okay. Let's say that works out as far as words go. What about etiquette?
He's military. Oh.
I'll have you know, I learned basic dinner etiquette 30 years ago.
He might be military, but he's not imperial military. And, well, I don't know. It seems a little outdated given he saluted me back on the ship a few days ago.
Okay. So I know I'm rusty. You can stop rubbing it in.
You'll be eaten alive, but that's fine. You're, like you said, you're the distraction. And she finishes tying up the back of Sid's dress, and then gives her a little push and says, "Walk."
Sid will take a few steps with trying to maintain good posture and stuff like that. Project confidence.
Coordination check 3 difficulty and a setback.
Petty, but I'll take it.
All right. One second.
That went from walk to catwalk real quick.
Villainy music starts playing as you makes the walk.
Yeah, so Venata and just kind of leans against the table where Merrick's been sitting at as Sid does a very dramatic walk around the room in the tight dress and heels, and you just see Venata put her hand up and say, that works. Maybe
Too
don't look
much?
like you're gonna step on him.
You're kind of walking like you've just conquered this room.
Yeah. Gotta give him a little bit of they're graduating military officers. Maybe just a little pull back a little.
You think? I was thinking more when in the Empire kind of thing.
A
When in
little
the
less.
Empire act like you own the Empire.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. All right. But Anna just kind of sits down and is like, well, I mean, it worked well.
I'll work on it a little. I'm not used to heels.
I wouldn't have known. She just seems she just grabs something to kind of fan herself for a moment and then gets up and it's like, you two, let's take a break. She just clearly goes to check on Talia, and that is where we're gonna go ahead and end today's kind of laid back session. But next week we'll see the party travel to Anaxes and what they can get up to. Thanks everyone for joining us, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
With our dancing shoes.
Later.